It's showtime. You guys might notice this Backfire Productions logo. That's going to be for the next channel, but it's still been for here forever. It's the blanket that I use for everything I do. I'm using this because I have a visual surprise for our guest, Kevin Nasser. So Kevin's going to talk to us about, he's known for his millipedes and flake soil and doo-doo beetles. And now we're going to talk to him about parrots. It's our last live interview on this channel. So why parrots? This is ISO Buddies. Why parrots? Well, those of you that watch long enough know that we do everything here. And I've been wanting to talk about parrots for 5 freaking years now. So we finally got a chance to do it. And I wasn't going to pass that up and do another boring stock episode about isopods. Oh, what do? Do they roll in a ball or not? Okay, that's fascinating. Like, you can only do that so many times. It was fascinating the first year. Other than that, yeah, we're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to talk about his bird specifically and parrots in general. And there's a little TikTok video I'm going to try to pull up. It's kind of short, but we'll see if we can pull that up. I'm not very good at that stuff. Let's see. Let's bring him on without further ado. Kevin, what's up?
How's it going, guys?
Let's get this camera on so you can tell. I think we talked a bit before about this topic. And so I got my face tattoos. I'm sporting my face tattoos.
What does that say on your one of 7 chins?
Wow, this guy. Just because you covered yours with a beard. Says no regrets.
No
regrets.
That's my credo. That's awesome.
I had to write it with my left hand because I couldn't see in the mirror with my right. So I had to write with my left hand. And so it should be jacked up. These should be jacked up, right?
That's fucking great.
Yours are classy. Mine are felon tattoos. Mine are like, I got face tattoos so I wouldn't get, raped in the butt. So that was my goal.
Might have forcibly got those put on and then gotten that taken care of.
Yeah, like while I was asleep, whatever. It happens. It's Chug Malone. I'm guessing like Post Malone. I like it. Do they roll into a ball, though? Yeah, no, we don't care about isopods right now. But we're going to talk about parrots, man. Am I saying the right word? Is there like a clade? Are we going with?
When you want to get into clades is just like your different branches once you hit species. So like your subspecies, those would be clades. So like, if you want to jump into that, well.
No, we don't. We don't care. We don't care about that. We want to talk about parrots. Where do you want to start?
Well, just get right into parrots. So when you look at the bird tree, you have different things. People all know you got your raptors, like your falcons, eagles, hawks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you'll have your songbirds. Like you'll have other groups that are Psittaciformes, which are they're only found in South America. And if you know what a secretary bird from Africa is, which they're part of a totally different one, they're similar to that, except they're smaller. There's a South American equivalent, and they're also suspected to have evolved from what were called the terror birds or the thunderbird.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, back then. So those are what they evolved from. So
Pleistocene era.
Mm-hmm.
No, they have a Psittaciformes at the Brookfield Zoo right now. It's my favorite bird. There's 2 of them, and they're just like they're in the children's zoo thing, and they're in your face, like they want to check you out. They're very curious. If you pick up your phone and you play a call from the Psittaciformes, from another Psittaciformes, boy, that's good times. They freak out. They start going nuts with their call.
They answer back and everything.
Yeah, they look at you first, and they're like, "What? What did you just say?" And then they go straight up in the air and do this I can't even do the thing of it. They do the call because it's like this high pitched. They use them like people use geese here. The farmers use them to protect their flocks because they will alert and they will actually attack intruders.
That's really cool.
They're pretty cool. So I thought they were really neat. But I learned a lot about them from an autistic guy that was there. He was like severely autistic, and he was like,
"That's one to learn from."
Yeah, he's like, "What's that bird called?" I said, "Oh, it says it's a Psittaciformes." He's like, "Actually, it's pronounced Psittaciformes." And I was thinking, like, "Why are you asking me then, smart guy?"
Yeah.
No, but he gave me the whole rundown on the bird, and everything I said was wrong. Or when I said it was right, something I said was right, he finally was like, yeah. And then he walked away. He was just done. He was like giving me enough time to be correct. It was awesome.
Nice.
But I learned a lot.
Philly's, was it Philly? No, I'm sorry. It's the zoo in Massachusetts, Franklin Park, I think it is. When I was there, they had Kias. Those are
Oh yeah.
those are actually a type of parrot. They're so there's 4 groups of parrots. When you want to get down to that, there's cockatoos. There's what's called true parrots. True parrots are like macaws, Amazons, African greys. Then you have your New Zealand parrots. They're their own thing entirely. That's your Kia. Kiwis are actually a type of parrot, believe it or not.
I do believe it because I'm fascinated by those birds. Like that's the birds that just molest your car if you go up in their area.
Oh, dude, they are so violent out there. So in Australia, you have to get separate insurance on your home, or in New Zealand, I'm sorry, you have to have separate insurance on your home and car. Like they won't give you that included on your typical insurance. That's how destructive they are. Most companies won't cover them. And they also attack sheep and drink their blood.
And they're super smart. Apparently, they're like super smart too. So that's like you have a super smart flying demon that's going to wreck your car and kill your sheep, or maybe not kill them, but wound your sheep.
Yeah, dude,
possibly kill them.
I don't say kill them. So they'll land on their back when they're sleeping, and kind of like a vampire bat, except it's a horrible beak. It doesn't have saliva that numbs it, so they just dig out a hole and just start licking it up. Little savages out there.
God, I feel like I like parrots, but I don't know. If I lived out there with sheep, I would probably have a shotgun just for them.
Oh, yeah.
My Kia sweeper.
The Kia sweepers.
No good. No good. So what's the 4th one? So you have the New Zealands, and then you said there was a 4th one.
So I should have been a little bit more specific. The 4th, some argue that it's actually grouped in with the true parrots. Others argue that it's split off, and split off would be the actual separation of like the groups of Amazon parrots, macaws, and African greys. So African greys and Amazons would be in their own separate clade, whereas macaws would be in their thing with like parrotlets and lovebirds. Lovebirds would be in that as well.
Okay.
Lovebirds. Yeah, and those guys would be in that.
So lovebirds are like legit parrots then?
Yeah, they're parrots. I actually don't know the scientific name of it's called parrotlets. I've seen them labeled as, and they
the show's over.
They kind of look like that, but let's see. They kind of look like a lovebird almost, except they have a different beak shape to them, and they're called parrotlet, but they're actually not a parrot at all. Okay. Parrotlets are like budgies. Those are parakeets. Those are technically parrotlets.
Okay.
And like a cockatiel is technically, they're part of the cockatoo family, but they branch off slightly different at the end just because cockatoos are differentiated from a lot of the other parrots because their skull structure is so only their left carotid artery actually supplies all the blood to their brain, whereas a bunch of other parrots, it'll be their left and their right. Cockatiels and budgies, theirs is left and right. Amazons, on the other hand, are an odd one as well. Theirs is only supplied by the right one, not the left. So they're another one that's unique in that sense. And then, cockatoos actually have the most difference between all of them when it breaks down to. So personally, I own a lesser sulfur-crested cockatoo, Cockatoo sulphureum. Most people, when you think of a cockatoo, it's either actually that one or usually there's the sulfur-crested, lesser sulfur-crested, and then there's a group that are all referred to as medium sulfur-crested, and they break down to Eleonora, Matthews, and can't remember the other one. But then Or even more recently, they separated another one, and you have the Triton or the citrus crested cockatoo, where theirs is orange. That's another one that people mistake all those ones for.
What's
But
the pink one? Isn't there a pink one too?
pink one is the sam. They're sometimes called salmon crested, and they're
Yeah.
also called mulligans.
That's the
And
first one I ever saw, and that was at Brookfield Zoo. That was like one of the first animals. They had it when they opened, and it died when I was like 35. So it
oh
was over 100 years old. It's like 120 years old. I want to say 113. I was going to look it up before we started the show, but I have the cool Moldorama wax figure of her, Coco. Coco, if you're out there, we'll pour some orange high C out for you, girl.
I know the Bronx Zoo for years had a gorgeous set of black palm cockatoos. Those
Ooh, that's a pretty bird.
Yeah, they're just stunning. They have that bright red on the sides of their lips when they open their mouth
Yeah.
too.
And their bill is like demonic. Like the hook on that bill
Oh yeah, they're
is
so jet black, and they almost have a macaw shaped bill. Where like
yeah,
you know how like the macaws, it's that super long hook
yeah,
that they basically use to grab onto things.
yep,
Well, cockatoos are separated by having it's not as sharp as an Amazon does, but if you look at their beak, it comes down and then it has a step before it makes that hook. On the
yeah,
cause, it just swoops down almost full. It just has like like a slight little protrusion that's barely there almost. And then Amazon's, it comes down and looks almost like a serrated knife the way it comes back up before it hooks under. So that's a
scary.
big thing that separates the parrots in themselves. And then the fact that all of them have hook shaped beaks to begin with is part of what makes them parrots. So
Got you, got you.
like your songbirds they'll have pointed beaks. Your raptors all have straight hook beaks if you look or yeah, straight hook beaks if you look at them. Even vultures, it's that beautiful hook that comes down right at the tip. There's no serrations to it that you can see visible from the
Yeah,
outside at all.
they've got
So
that cool feature on the inside too. That's like it reminds me of the pliers, the teeth on the pliers. That's
yeah, the way
designed
that they
the
have
top
that
bill.
pull back, it's amazing.
Yeah, to kind of hold stuff there so they can crush nuts and
Yeah, keeps
whatever
everything in
crazy
place.
seeds.
And
Yeah, yeah,
certain parrots have papillae like that as well that they use in combination with their actual tongue. If you ever feel a parrot's tongue, it's
yep,
like a heavy, calloused thumb.
yeah,
It's so thick and it's dry, and that's what they use for mobility. Most parrots, they rarely fly in the wild. Like they'll fly from tree to tree, get some exercise, find a mate, just have some fun. But when they're foraging, finding food, they're climbing all day. They're just using their wings more or less for balance. It's that beak and those feet doing all the work. I watched my Amazon, and my Amazon is 54 years old, estimated. The lady we got him from had him for 51 years. She died, so we got it from her niece, or
okay,
I'm sorry, her granddaughter. Uh, and then we got the cockatoo. Oh, she got him from somebody who had him prior, but she wasn't exactly sure how long. She thinks about 5 years. So on the low end, he's 54. On the high end, he's 56. So
it's
he's old
pretty.
and grumpy, but he can hang upside down from 1 foot and pull his body up effortlessly to get his beak on the cage, walk around and do his thing. He chases me all day because he hates me. He only lets my wife touch him, and she can't like really pet him. She can like just barely rub his beak before he gets tired of that. Me, I'm spending hours every day with him, feed him, change his cage, give him water every day. Built a room for the birds, and he can't stand me. And
They're
then,
ungrateful, just like their
absolutely.
kids.
And then the
Except,
cockatoo I've had for 20 years, and I also got her from somebody who just couldn't take care of her anymore, and he had her for 4 years. So she's 25 right now, and anyone who's thinking about getting a parrot, don't
yeah,
get either of those. They're both horrible, horrible things. So the Amazons are a little better, but they're known as feet terrors, along with macaws. If they don't like you, they'll come right at your feet. That's the thing. Don't know why.
Okay.
They can fly, or if they can't, they'll go on the floor and come charging at your feet. Mine does it not that often because we kind of have like a mutual thing. I gave him a set of my slippers for him to chew apart, and
Okay.
that's a mutual thing. So he takes care.
That was enough.
Dude, I wasn't in the room, and my cockatoo. Oh yeah, this is why cockatoos stink. For one, they scream nonstop.
You were saying it's like louder than a jet.
So, like I said, I have a lesser self-crested cockatoo sulfurea. She, on average, that species can hit about 132, about 125 decibels. No, I'm sorry, 135 decibels. And then to compare that, a jet engine is about 156 decibels. So that's deafening, literally. They're happy. They're making this high-pitched scream that can hit that. They're sad. They're making that. You walk out of the room, they're shouting like that because these are flock birds. It's not just, oh, I bond with you. Yeah, I only bond with you, but we live with 100 of you. And they all want to know where each other is constantly. They're just loud, needy things. So
That's just wild.
cockatoos, if you want a cockatoo, get a cockatiel. They're the same thing. They do all the screeching, except it's meet, 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 meet. Sounds like a budgie, like your parakeet. So
I've never heard a cockatiel get like obnoxiously loud.
No, they're not definitely
loud.
Exactly. You have them in a room, it's not really a bother. If my cockatoo is down here shouting right now in my basement, we wouldn't be able to talk. I'd have
that's something I was worried about. Honestly, that's something I was worried about. Yeah, when you said they were going to be in bed, I was like, all right, cool.
Oh, yeah. Me talking right now, even if my cockatoo was awake and here, she wouldn't let us talk. She'd be screaming, and if I didn't give her attention, she'd start tearing up my computer. That's how they are. When I'm not home and my wife goes in there, my wife can hang with her. They're fine, all happy. I walk in the room, immediately she'll go to attack her. She grabs my wife's hair. She pulls at it real hard, shakes it up. Just a terror. And then they also are what's known as the horniest species in the world. Any bird, doesn't matter. Ducks are nasty. Ducks are known for necrophilia.
Homosexual necrophilia.
Yeah, they don't care about anything. Yeah, they just go for anything, open opportunities. But cockatoos, all of them. All parrots in general, if you touch their back, their wings, anything below the neck, you're telling them, hey, I want to mate. Move yourself, get ready. Cockatoos, if they're like a cat, if you pet a cat too much, it gets excited and attacks you. If I pet my cockatoo for just a few seconds too long, literally, I have to stop after a couple minutes because it'll be scratch, and that third scratch, she may start to raise herself up, and then they shut her down, everything. Or sometimes I can get a couple minutes, and then there's just that, no, now I'm ready to go. And that's all cockatoos, male, female, doesn't matter the species. They're always ready to go. They're extremely horny. The big problem with that, males will become insanely aggressive.
Okay.
They're not getting anything. They're attacking the world. And your house is just, it's all fair game. Cockatoos are also one of the most destructive parrot you can own. That I give her boxes and literal blocks of wood. I put behind their cage. When I redid my whole room for the two parrots, and I did soundproofing in the walls, make sure it was all good. Did an extra layer of foam insulation just to double that. There's foam and cellulose in my ceiling just to make sure that's all padded real well. I can still hear the cockatoo almost clearly from let's see, it's about from there to the front corner, from about 50 feet away, I can clearly hear my cockatoo scream.
Through
Before I
walls
did
and other rooms and
in soundproofing, thick soundproofing. And before I did that, I could hear her driving almost a block and a half away. Clearly, there's somebody else in my neighborhood that has one that I hear scream almost every day during the summer. And just that's cockatoos. My Amazon, on the other hand, they don't screech, but they just don't shut up. Like
he just never stop.
like he does his own thing. He makes these weird sounds, but because he lived with this old woman, I think she was in her 90s when she died. When he's living with this old woman, I guess he's listening to her on the phone. So if he hears somebody talk, it's, oh, what? Hello? How are you? I love you. Oh, want a cracker? Who's a good boy? And then his favorite thing is, what the fuck? He shouts that incessantly, dude. Like nonstop. That he swings his bells because he loves bells. That's his little comfort thing. When
Okay.
we got him, he was in this super tiny cage. There was so much poo just caked on it heavily. It was this thick pink film in his water bowl. So he was being horribly neglected. He's all plucked and stuff.
Yeah.
Luckily, he's growing that in, but some feathers, the follicles are too damaged, so he'll be permanently bare in some areas. But now, my birds don't go in their cages. They have cages. They can go in them if they want. I don't close them. They do their thing.
Okay.
It's nap time or when it's time to go to bed. Leo, he's my Amazon.
Yeah.
He'll roost on top of the cage at night where there's a perch for him to sleep. Whereas cockatoo, well, they sleep in the canopy more or less in the jungles of South America. So he's used to just being out exposed like that. My cockatoo, on the other hand, they make nests inside of trees. So she goes in the cage and she has her own perching set up in one of her corners that she likes to sleep at every night. And then come morning, I have a timer. So once the sun rises, the timer turns on and I have UV lights over them. There's a skylight I put in there so they'll get natural sunlight too. I have automatic curtains that when I leave for work in the morning, just quick press of the button opens up for them. So
This is why I wanted you to talk about it with me. I was very excited. I have other bird people that I know, but I know from watching your Facebook and some of the reels you put up with the enrichment that you do for your birds.
If you go back far enough on my TikTok, go back far enough on my TikTok. I don't have that many videos, so it's easy. But I didn't have that much time before this to pull it up.
Yeah.
I actually have a video on there of the bird room, and on TikTok, I'm Boogie Down Bugs. Anyone want to see that? But
yeah, go look. I'm not good at TikTok. I had a hard time just watching the one video.
But like I was saying before, when I made that room, because of how destructive cockatoos are, I found on Facebook Market somebody who felled a bunch of trees and he had cut them into slabs. So I bought a bunch of those, took them to work, cleaned them up real nice, and then I just screwed them onto the wall. All different species of hardwoods, real hardwoods. So there's hard maple, there's hickory, there was we have a little bit of white oak, but not too much. There's pecan on there. All these very hard woods, so they can just go to town. And she's gone to town. She's done work on not only. Oh, I also put some cork bark up on the wall just for my own look because I like cork bark. She decided, fuck that cork bark, and ripped that down. And then she started to do work on the actual wood I put on there for her to chew. Like I said,
scrape the cork bark first.
So they just love destroying everything. The Amazon, on the other hand, he prefers to attack my shoes. So I can't leave any shoes in that room. I used to leave my work boots there. And I had a set of slippers I'd leave in there. No, so I gave him the slippers that he pretty much destroyed. That's his personal toy now. Whenever I go in there in the morning, he actually violently starts biting it I guess to remind me that he's the boss somehow. So he has flown at me, like to attack me before, legitimately. But
Now we were talking about, okay, so flying. We talked about, and you're a controversial guy. You like to get in controversial arguments. That actually makes sense. Like your side, I'm usually on your side. I don't know where you stand on this one. So I don't really have a side on this one, to be fair.
so
Clipping wings.
I don't think it should be controversial, but people straight get banned from the Facebook groups for mentioning it. People get kicked out of Discord groups, I'm told, for mentioning clipping wings. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It can be useful. Now, clipping wings, if you don't know, is basically a haircut for your bird. You are not cutting off their wings. You're not doing any damage. You're taking your shears, you're cutting the first four primary flight feathers, not even fully, just barely down enough that they can't support their weight to fly. Now, should you do that with all birds? Absolutely not. Should you do that with a bird that you just got in, you're not familiar with, you need to take to the vet, get all your clearance stuff? Absolutely. Because you want something that, if it's still unsure, like my situation, this is a bird that I got. He's well into his 50s. He's, from what I understand, the only good experience he has is with this one old lady that he lived with most of his life. So he's not too keen on men. So for him, it's impossible for me to be able to have gone near him, put a towel around him, take him to the vet to get his blood work and everything checked out before introducing him to my cockatoo. That would have been impossible. Now that he has his flight feathers, he has flown at me multiple times to attack me. Will I clip him again? No, because my wife can get him into the pet carrier for when we need to go to the vet. And he's manageable to where she can towel him, pass him to the vet easily. And I'm willing to work with him. He's gotten better with flying at me. He'll still charge me, but now he like mock flies. He doesn't actually let go of the cage. He just flaps his wings once or twice. So we're getting there, but I haven't even had him a year. I didn't expect him to be all buddy buddy, and I won't expect him to be buddy buddy for at least another year or even two. I mean, and the most I really hope is that he's just chill when I go in there.
He doesn't fly at your face.
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't want to have to reach in to change his food and be like, all right, he's going to bite me right now. I got to wait for him to get up. I got to give him a piece of orange or something, entice him to go over to the other side, or I can't get in there. If I could do that without it, that's all I expect.
Now, how big is he? Because you keep saying just Amazon parrot. Like, is that a thing? Is that they're just
Amazon parrot is a group. It has there's about, I think Amazons are 33 species. I have a double yellow-headed Amazon. I think that's what it's called. It's Amazona Oroptrix.
okay?
That's way easy, you know? So from there, they broke that down into three subspecies. You now have Oroptrix tresumanus, tresumanensis, which are found off the Trasmanis Islands just off of Mexico. That's what I have. They have the most yellow. They're called double yellow because of that one specifically. There's the yellow nape Amazon, which is a different species. There's the yellow crowned Amazon, different species. They're called double yellowhead because their nape, which is the neck, and their entire head and face, all yellow. That's the true Amazona Oroptrix, which is also called Tresumanensis one. But when you have sorry, these are actually ones that I'm not too familiar with, but it's Belizensis from Belize, and they just have the yellow on their head, not that much on their neck. Also the other one, the first one I talked about, they have the red on their shoulders, some red feathers on their shoulders also.
Okay.
So they're pretty colorful with a bright green body. All Amazons have a bright, or most of them have a bright green. Some have a darker green body, but most of them all green as their base coloring, or all of them all green as their base coloring. Then the last one is Hondurensis or Hondurianensis. They're from Honduras. Those ones just have a little bit of yellow on their nape. That's about it. They don't have the red on their shoulder at all. And the yeah, no, I'm sorry. The Belize ones also have a white ring around their eye, which is a little darker to see, or a little harder to see compared to the Tresmen's one, which is the one that I have. Theirs is mostly white around the eye, but they have a nice yellowish, creamish color beak, whereas the other one has a much darker, almost gray beak. So that, along with the yellow difference, is the main thing between them. But he is roughly, when we brought him to the vet, he was, I think, 4.5 ounces, close to 5 ounces. He's pretty obese when we got him. He had fatty liver disease. He actually has fatty spots in his eye from being fed mostly seed diet, which honestly, Google's the worst fucking source of information when you look up the diets for these wild parrots. It's easy to just look at their beak and figure out what they eat. It's that simple. That's how all birds are grouped to begin with. That's how you get it. You know what eats seeds? Your songbirds. Why? You can tell. Simple. They have a beak designed to grab it. Yes, parrots will eat certain seeds, but their beak is mostly designed to grab into things, tear it open. You have some like macaws where they're getting these big shelled or thick shelled nuts that they're cracking into. They're eating your fruits up top. So they also eat bark and minerals, like straight mineral clay deposits off of cliff sides.
I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
really cool.
very common. African grays, they eat the soil, the clay soil that you find near watering holes out there. I mean, all birds do this.
Is that something they're just doing for minerals, or is that something for their crop too?
Most ornithologists say that they're getting the minerals, but some of most parrots don't actually store gravel in their crop or grit in their crop. They don't do that. Like they'll store a little food in there, but they don't use grit to digest any of it to break any of that down. There's nothing. What they do use that for is, especially cockatoos. Hey, you turned me on. There you go. Here's a little bit of food that I brought you. How
I
about
had
that before we get started?
I had a lorikeet throw up in my mouth because we were best friends. We would smooch,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the one day I think I must have turned her on. She must have got like you're talking about. She
Yeah.
gave me a little nectar back.
Lorikeets are another one that's in the grouping of true parrots along with macaws. You'll get their beak structure.
I'm a
Lorikeets,
fan. I'm a
uh,
fan of a lorikeet.
oh, they're awesome. So are ringnecks. Lorikeets and ringnecks, if you want parrots, those are great ones to get.
Yeah,
Lorikeets, if you can deal with a more high pitch shriek every so often, especially when they're excited, they're
yeah,
not too bad to deal with. You can close a bedroom door and pretty much drown them out. Ringnecks, they're not too loud also, but the big issue with them, they really bond tightly. Like they'll play with other people, you can get them really social, but they'll bond super tightly with their owner and whoever interacts with them the most. And especially males, they can become pretty aggressive towards others if that happens. But as
yeah,
long as you stay away from, doing the stroking that you shouldn't be, it's pretty much comes down to that. Like a lot of those videos you see online where people's parrots are snuggling up on them and getting all lovey-dovey, that's
yeah,
not good. That's them trying to, entice you to take care of their needs as well. And that becomes aggression, frustration that leads to them plucking. They're going to attack others. They attack you. They start chewing the furniture more. So those are all things that can be avoided, simple stuff like that.
What do you
Also,
do to like divert that? Do you just not turn them on? Just like give them less attention?
with the cockatoo, like I said, it's a quick snap and she's down, ready, and I stop immediately and I just ignore her completely until she calms down. And then once she gets back calmed down, she tries to get my attention again. I divert her. We'll grab something, start playing. This way, her attention's on something else. Now she's getting all that energy out.
Okay.
The Amazon, like I said, we can't really pet him. My wife can just poke his beak. So he hasn't gotten to that point, but we got him as a plucker. He
Yeah.
hasn't plucked since getting him, so
That's good. That's a big deal.
frustrated in that sense. Oh man, his feathers look great too.
I got
Actually, I put them up on my website. I've been collecting all their good feathers. If anyone wants to buy them for craft supplies, I'll be selling them pretty soon. Just got to finish sorting and cleaning them, and I'll actually label the feathers what they are: their primaries, their secondaries, down feathers, etc. So
make a pillow.
lots of variety.
Parrot dream catchers.
I've seen people end up using them on like display cards and stuff, like on edges, or I've seen a few people use make them into bookmarks with resin or laminates and stuff. So
It's cool. It's cool. People get crafty.
yeah.
What was I going to ask you? You said you've had African grays. Now I've worked at a lot of different pet stores, and so the one that I had, we sold parrots, and so I bonded with. We had a red macaw, a scarlet macaw, who wished me dead. Like for whatever reason, he didn't care about anyone else in the store. He loved the owner, but if it was me, his thing that he would do is he would see me, and they had these open little aviary things for them, and their wings were clipped. You know, they can fly down to the ground.
Yeah.
So he would fly to the ground as soon as I walked in to clock in. He'd fly to the ground, and it was our job to like pick him back up and put him up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd be like, "You fuck!" So I'd go to hook his beak, and as soon as he got his feet off the floor, he just started lining in on my finger, like just crushing it.
Oh yeah.
So I started getting a broom, and the owner got mad at me because like I was using a broom to get him up on the broom instead. And she's like, "What are you doing? People are going to think you're scared of him." I'm like, "I'm fucking scared of him." Like, he took my finger, like, so I'm pointing at you right now, right? Like, my fingernail is, perpendicular to the ground.
Yep.
So he bit my finger at the knuckle and then somehow turned it to where my fingernail pointing at you would be straight up. Like it dislocated and was like that. And so then I looked at it and shook my hand and it popped back in place, which hurt worse.
Oh yeah.
Ruined a bunch of my shirts, peeling the buttons off. But the other one that we had, I got to go visit her at her home because we bonded so hard. The people that bought her invited me over to come visit. Like I went over there kind of a lot. But we had an African gray. That was from the day we got this bird, was my bird. Like I couldn't come in if they were showing him to a customer. I couldn't walk by because the bird didn't care about them at all. Yeah. And the owner's dog scared the bird off of the aviary and then ate it, basically murdered it. And I was like, I got to kill that dog now. I got to kill that dog. A big Akita dog.
You got to avenge your bird.
I got to do something. He killed my bird. He killed little Coco. Because she was so sweet. She was so sweet. So these birds, like I can get along with birds pretty well. It's something, I don't know if it's my demeanor or what, but like I told you, that lorikeet, that was like my little buddy. She got taken back because there was some disease. Like there was an outbreak of disease at the aviary that we got her from, and they were concerned that she had it. And apparently it's transmissible. It's zoonotic. So it's transmissible to humans. And in birds, it gives them like a serious cold and they get over it in a couple months. In humans, it'll just fucking kill you. Like you have like a month to live or something. It was crazy. So I had to go get checked every 2 weeks. Because we were full on like boyfriend, girlfriend. It was crazy.
I feel kind of stupid for not remembering the name of it right now.
You know what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, in fact, it's really deadly for cockatoos to get. It almost doesn't affect Amazons at all, and it's fairly deadly for macaws too.
Okay.
But in other species of parrot and almost all other birds, it's like you said, it's pretty much like a mild cold, which could still kill them, but usually they end up recovering.
Definitely treatable. Definitely you can manage it and treat it.
Yeah, it's for the most part it is treatable in that. But
she didn't have it. She didn't wind up having it, but like my boss comes to me, he's like, "Hey, I need to take the bird. I need to take Sunny." And I was like, "Where are you going?" "I got to put her in ISO." "Why?" "And you can't go in there anymore."
Yeah.
"Why?" "Because you could die now." "This is PetSmart, bro. I can't be dying at a PetSmart."
PetSmart, dude? Yeah. It's definitely not worth losing your life at.
Dude, I would do half my shift with this bird on my shoulder. Like whatever I could do, the bird was on me. Whatever I could do with the bird was on me. That's how bonded we were. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Nah, man, she could kill you." And then they put her in another store or something. I don't remember what they did with her, but she just was gone one day. And I was a mess. I was a hot mess over this bird. I was like, I'll risk death. I already got it if I got it. So what am I going to do? You know, if I already got it, I got it. What the hell? Let me hang out with my bird then. I'm ready to die for this bird. Yeah. True love.
Yeah, ready to die for this PetSmart.
But I get how you bond to the birds. Like, how do you? What was my question? How do they get along? Like the two, they're in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the parent room, and they get along okay. They just tolerate each other. They don't bother each other.
They're starting to talk to like each other a lot more now. At first, it was more of a tolerance. We kind of put them together slowly, had everything.
Yeah, sure.
Rooms for quarantine at first, and then they were introduced when everything was all right. Bring her into his room, and then eventually move them in together in the same room. And I'd close him up at night just to make sure everyone was okay. I'd close her up also, but then realized when it would come close to nighttime, he would just climb up on top of the cage anyway, go to sleep, and she'd always go in. And I'm like, well, this is their thing. I don't think they're going to be a problem. So really, that was okay, and they've been fine with that. But all of a sudden, they started. When we first got him and we really had to keep his diet in check, he would climb down his cage and then climb up onto her cage when she would be hanging out, chewing up the wall. He'd climb up onto her cage and he would eat whatever seeds were in her food dish.
He wants the seeds still.
Yeah, and we didn't notice this until I put a camera in there to keep an eye on those two, just to see their interactions. And I check it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, cool, he's moving. And then I repositioned the camera, and I was able to see even better. Oh, he climbs down, goes up, and he goes right there, snatches everything he wants, and then he goes back up to his thing by the time I get back. And
these goddamn birds are so smart.
When we finally got everything sorted with him and his diet's all good, now we give him seeds just in a lot less than the cockatoo gets. But
sure.
That we give him enough that he stays satisfied and have it's like an enrichment feeder for puppies where it's this clear ball. It has a couple holes. You're supposed to fill it with kibble. The puppy pulls at it and it lets it get out. We have that, but we fill it with sunflower seeds for him.
Okay.
And he also has another one of those, but designed for rabbits. It's like this blue ball. It's really tough, but his beak is strong enough that he can actually pop it. The ball itself can open in half so you can clean it, or it has a screw top. Okay. Instead of opening the screw top to get the seeds, when he gets tired of rolling it and shaking it to knock them out where they're supposed to, his beak can split it in the center and just pop the clips right off. So he gets the seeds that way. So now we only put like 3-4 seeds in that one when we give him that. And when he gets frustrated, just throw it off the cage entirely. And then he really likes peppers, so that's been a good thing to help him get off the seeds. And that's a good thing for him to not attack me. I get the little peppers, or I bring him some little peppers that are chopped up, the bell pepper, and I lure him away. He makes his little happy grunts, and then I can do my thing. But he needs an offering for me to do something.
So he's an offering for you to like clean his cage.
Yeah,
I gotta bribe you to clean your shit. Like that's who's the boss in this house, really.
Dude, my life is ran by these things. My cat has me trained when I go.
Yeah, that's my thing. So
she hits me, so I move a certain way so she can get all nuzzled up for bed too.
I got my buddy right here who's got me trained. Little fart machine over here. I got a Siamese cat that I'm surprised he hasn't rotted me out already today.
Oh, that's another thing. So the cockatoo, he rats out the Amazon when he started coming down doing that and eating her seeds when she was actually close to her bowl. That's when she would screech at him and let us know. And then it started when she's off on her other perch doing something else. She'd see him eating the seed. She'd scream again. So I'd come in, see what's up, and oh, okay. So I'd have to put her seeds like in various things that he couldn't get to, like actual climbing. Her wings were grown in, so she could
Okay.
do a little fly to her perch and get the stuff. His were still clipped at the time, so
Okay.
he couldn't climb it. He couldn't get it. That was how we solved that issue. So
Now that's over. That ship
yeah,
has sailed now.
like I said, they, clipped wings have a purpose, and
I
once they
mean,
molt, as when it's molting, that's it. It's replaced. It's not permanent. And
so at Brookfield Zoo, they have an open aviary now for. I'm going to talk about Brookfield Zoo all the time. So they're a world-renowned zoo. They're awesome. They know their stuff. They have a big thing with, oh my God, flamingos now.
okay,
And my daughter pointed it out. I didn't even notice it, but my daughter's like, "Daddy, why are their wings weird?" And I looked, and sure enough, like their wings were clipped seriously. Like they're clipped big.
they have
Um,
really long flight feathers though. They're meant
yeah,
for gliding,
yeah,
so that massive tip of that wing has to come off pretty much, or
yeah.
else
So
they'll still be able.
it's
And
like right
some
where
of
that
them,
last knuckle is. It's
yeah,
like gone.
yep.
So, but I
Some
mean, if
will only do one wing instead of both wings.
they do one. They did the right wing on all the
Yeah,
birds. The right wing is clipped. Um, but like those birds, there are some other birds in that building, like some storks that they have the wings clipped, but not as severely.
mhm.
But I'm saying if a world-renowned zoo is doing that, you can pretty much bank that it's not going to damage your bird or hurt your bird, and
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
benefits to it.
And like I said, once they molt, those get replaced with normal flight feathers. It's not a thing. And
Yeah,
my Amazon, all of his flight feathers are in. Most of the feathers that he plucked out actually came back pretty good. His chest is almost full. He's got a few spots on his belly. A good chunk of his back, though, hasn't grown back yet. But
there
still,
is. What are some triggers for that? Is it all just basically stress and agitation?
it could be diet, it could be depression, it could be anger, frustration. There's so many things that can cause it. Losing a mate, moving, putting them in a different, unfamiliar environment. Uh, I know speaking with rescues and other bird keepers or people that take in birds like fosters, COVID ruined so many people's animals because now I go from going to work, coming home at night, spending time with you, etc. Now I'm home all day. It's you and me, and we're bonding extra. That bird now thinks this is life. It's
Yeah,
not going to go back to that flow because that was all enriching, all powerful to it.
yeah.
Now it's frustrated it doesn't have that anymore. It's depressed it doesn't have that anymore. It's either going to start destroying things or it's going to destroy itself. And
Or both.
sadly, a lot of things, yeah, a lot of birds are prone to that. African grays are notorious pluckers.
Yeah, they are. They are because they're super sensitive, super smart birds. Like
Extremely,
what's
yep.
going on
And,
in their heads.
and they're another one that really bonds close. So they pluck for a. It's very easy to get them to pluck, and it's every reason you can think of. They'll do
Yeah.
it. Cockatoos, they pluck pretty heavy too. Mine, I thought she was actually thinking, or I thought she started to pluck, and then I realized since giving her actual like good higher concentrations of UV, no, she molted so heavily that I didn't think that it was possible. It was like all of her down feathers dropped at once, but then the rate that they grew in was insane, and it's
And that's
if
from
you
the
don't
UV.
have UV on your parrot, on any bird, they are missing out tremendously. I'm such a proponent on UV for everything. I mean, they sell specific UVB lights for parrots. So even if you don't have a UV index meter, it's going to be a safe amount. When I've tested the ones specifically for birds, none of them came in higher than a 0.5 reading from the about 2 inches lower than what they recommended. So that's not going to hurt your bird if you're a little too low at all. My parrots, well, my cockatoo specifically, since she's from areas of Indonesia, and they'll stay flying pretty high throughout, going from one area to the next. They get exposed to a good amount of UV out there as well. So her, I actually have about a 1.2 reading on. I use a normal reptile UV, just set at a much higher rate. And then the Amazon, since they're typically deeper in the jungle canopy tops where it's a lot more dense stuff where they like to hang out, him I only have a point. I have a 0.6 on. This way, and him, he actually has more areas where he can get out of the light, whereas she prefers to stay under that. She also has a perch that reaches far away. She can get close to 5 feet away from the light if she wants. And she'd rather be right under that all the time. And I can see her occasionally, she'll stretch out, open her wings and everything right under it. So she's like, you got to look up where your bird's from, see stuff like that. But like I said, if you get one of those bird lights, doesn't matter what type you have, you're not going to hurt your bird. If it can only help it.
I feel like any of these birds, any parrot is going to be such a major investment on every level. Like,
oh man,
you can't even think. I feel like I've been following your videos, and I've been following birds forever. Like, I'm a fan of birds. I don't really own the birds because I can't invest that much of myself into another. I could barely give that much to my kid, you know.
People are like thinking about that 50+ year commitment. My cockatoo, she can live to over 60. The Amazon, there's ones right now breaking 90. They're breaking records almost yearly with parrots. And I mean, one will die, and then, oh, we just learned about this one that's 96, and there's proof. Like, there was one, 96 is an exaggeration, but there's a 93-year-old one, and there's proof to date him at that. Like, that's ridiculous, man. Like, on average, they're still hitting 70 to 80, though. So
on average, so I guess it's not that ridiculous.
No, and then the even sadder part is how much destruction we've done to populations. The cockatoo I have right now, there's, well, not just her. There's 5 subspecies of Cockatoo sulfurea. Out of all those 5, there's estimated less than 2,000 in the wild right now.
Out of those 5 subspecies total?
Those 5 subspecies together. Out of the 3 subspecies of the Amazon parrot that I have, there's less than 2,000. I'm sorry. There's less than 7,000 out of those 3. So we almost wiped out these birds due to poaching, habitat destruction. About 60% of wild-caught parrots that are going to be smuggled here die before they even leave the country. Most of them die before they even get to their shipping destination.
You see those. I've seen those photos.
Yeah, and then
depressing.
Horrible things that they do with the Amazons as well. Since there's the 3 different subspecies, the Mexican type, the Trasmanus one, since they have that bright white around their eyes and the white beak, they're also the most money. Some people, they'll bleach around the eye and literally bleach the beak as well to try to pass it off as that.
We suck as a species.
That kills almost 80% of them from what I've read. I mean, it's unheard of. And like, not unheard of, but like it's just ridiculous. Like, why do people just like greed take over in such ways? It's
like, I don't know. It's not a status symbol. Like, a parrot isn't a status symbol. It's not a thing like that. And then you're going to get that bird and treat it like shit. You're not going to give it the enrichment. It doesn't have its own room with hardwood branches nailed to the wall and piles of cork bark that it ripped off because it said "Go to
Honestly,
hell."
if I could go back, tell young Kev before I was like, yeah, I'll take your bird, I'd tell him never to do that. Not at all. Like, and not just for the reasons I mentioned. There's different categories of birds, of parrots. There's dusty parrots, and then there's your non-dusty. Cockatoos are the dustiest of parrots, and by dusty, they let out this. It's a it's keratin. Yeah, it's pretty much a keratin that's like it has that fine talc-like consistency, and it's pure white, and it covers everything. You have to vacuum daily in there. I'd put a exhaust fan in the ceiling above her cage because of how dusty she is. There's HEPA filters that run in there to take care of that.
Jesus.
Amazon parrots, some of them are dusty, some of them aren't. The one I'm talking about that I own, they're also dusty. They're not as dusty as cockatoos though, and the stuff they let off is like a darker grayish, almost blackish color. Nice cat. So you don't really notice it as much, but you go in the room and you breathe that in. I
Yeah.
know immediately when I have to replace the filters, when I have to vacuum them out, when I have to get up in the exhaust and clean that one out. And this is with daily cleaning. That's something that regularly has to happen too. Like at least monthly filters get changed and cleaned.
Now that's a thing. Like,
The cost that adds up.
I'm kind of convinced that you're three people. So, because there's no way there's only one Kevin Nasser. So, you have all these animals behind you that get A+ care. You've got a cat, at least one cat. Um, you've got these parrots. You've got a full-time job that takes you a lot of time. Like, you do a lot in your job. It's not like some little, like my shitty job. I just go do my work, come home, and it's done, you know? Like, how do you get it all done? Like, do you sleep?
You get a little, then you wake up, you yell, and you just get to it.
You wake up and yell, ah!
That's pretty much it, you know? You wake up, fucking just take a shower, come downstairs, like, all right, lights on, guys. Feed the tortoise, talk to the hamsters, see
Those
what's up with
tortoises.
the mice. I got some button quail now.
Yeah, it never ends with you.
Yeah.
It never ends. These random ass button quail, they have a huge setup.
I used to have a rabbit down here, Yams. He was my buddy. I'd come down here every morning. He'd hop over to me, greet me, scratch his head a bit, give him his food, change his water. He'd say hi to me or say bye to me before I head back out to go to work. And then he'd be sitting at the stairs waiting for me right to come home. We would just run around the basement in the winter, and then in the summer during the day, I had a whole run outside for him, hang out, and then night bring him in. He was my buddy. He died last year.
Old age?
Yeah, he was
72.
He was 14.
14?
Yeah, dude.
Jesus, I did not know rabbits live that long. They live as long as dogs?
Dude, it's so he was a dwarf. We found his father in a park one day. We found his father in Pelham Bay Park, second largest park in New York. Largest park in second largest park in New York City. Largest one is what do you call it? Central Park. Yeah. But we're just walking, middle of the Bronx. You don't expect a rabbit, let alone this tiny, bright white rabbit with two brown spots on it. We take him. I won't say catch, because my wife walked and picks him up. Hey, you're mine now.
If you weren't going to be mine, you would have ran.
So she got a rabbit. And
then picks up a rabbit.
Yeah. And I was breeding rabbits because even before this, she wanted one. She didn't want to keep it at her house, though, so we had it at mine. I think rabbit's delicious. So why not take advantage of this? I got a female rabbit. You know what happens. I ate some, gave some away. She fell in love with some. Kept one of those females. We eventually bred it to the one that she found. And we kept one of the offspring. So that was my buddy for about 14 years.
I love how everything in your collection, though, is essentially could be food for something. Like
The
literally
hamsters
everything
were
there.
supposed to be food, and then they didn't want to get eaten. I've always had a soft spot for hamsters. Honestly, they're my top 3 favorite animal. This,
Hamster.
yeah, dude, hamsters are the best, man. Like, let's not even get into how they're Olympic runners and they go for miles every night, literally. Like, I'm not talking 1, 2. I'm talking over 10 miles in a night. That's just Syrians.
Are
Let's not
those
talk
little?
about how their liver can process alcohol 30 times more efficiently than a human's because, they hold stuff in their cheek fermenting all day. They're little alcoholics. They're still getting things done. Let's not even go into that detail. Oh, you want to talk about how efficient they can build a home, how quickly they can, to just, like I said, hop out in the next day? Yeah, give them 2 hours in some dirt. Forget about it. They're done. On to the next one. It's nothing for them. That'll be another topic for another thing.
Yeah, now
Look,
I gotta do this fucking show some more so I can have you back to talk about fucking hamsters.
yeah,
You're wrecking my whole plans here. You're not, but
pygmy mice for the turtle and the
we'll
other
just have
thing.
the Kevin Nasser show. Why aren't you doing your own show, man? You got like 5 years of content in your basement.
Another thing that I don't need to add on to my schedule.
Yeah, I feel like I'm burdening now. No, dude, that's crazy. So I just don't know how you do it all. Like I'm okay. We'll preface this by saying I'm lazy. I like things to be set up for me more or less. I just had a breakdown yesterday because I was trying to figure out how to put in this new tank. I'm building this. It's a 2-tank system with a 36-gallon boat front display tank. That's going to be fish and mud turtles, little mud turtles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be 1 or 2. I haven't decided if I'm gonna upgrade to 2 yet or not. They don't need to have a buddy. It could be bad, so I might just keep the 1.
Go with
But,
1 for your filter's sake.
yeah. Well, speaking of filter, so it's connected. It's gonna be connected by tubes to a 55-gallon. That's gonna be like a refugium.
Okay.
So it's gonna be all plants and neocardinia and daphnia and all that stuff's gonna be in there, and then we can farm all that stuff out to the display tank for the fish and the turtle and whatever. So that's the plan. So, but I had to redesign my whole plan last night, and I had a little breakdown. I had to call my wife down to hold me, and she was like, well, "What about this?" She mentioned one thing, and I was like, "Nah, that's not going to work." Oh shit, that's genius. Oh, I was ready to argue with her, right? Because I want it my way.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, that's how I don't want her. She don't know what she's talking about. She hasn't been thinking
every
about
now
this
and
for
then you got to give it. They get something right.
She nailed it. She took me right out of my thing. But like that's a big deal for me. Like just planning to redesign the basement, not doing it. So like you have like superpowers to me. Like, hi man, I said hi already. So it's like a superpower. I want you to appreciate what that is to some people. Because just looking at your tubs stresses me out.
It's not
just
even
the tub.
I didn't show you the ones on that side.
This isn't the doo-doo room. This isn't any of that stuff. Like,
No, the other room. Yeah, one of the other rooms. You can't see the door from here, but there's a bunch of flake soil and dirt in there. And there's the other room, and that's other work.
I'm not trying to depress you. Dude.
Like, damn, I got a lot to do.
And you have a wife. Who, like, that's got to take some time.
I'm fortunate she takes care of the cat at least. And then she takes care of the house chores mostly. So, and she works too. She busts her ass. So I give her a lot of props.
I mean, give her props. That's fine. She gotta take care of your tired ass once you're done with all that stuff.
Oh yeah, she puts up with me. I mean, poof. With my allergies and epilepsy, she's got her hands full.
Epilepsy too. Yeah, see, I would use that as an excuse not to get shit done. I'd be like, I can't have more millipedes. I got epilepsy.
Dude,
no way.
I had a seizure when we were about to do laundry one day, and when I came to, she said, "Get up. You don't look good when you have a seizure. We have stuff to do."
Your wife is gangster.
Oh, she is good. She was so tired of my shit because I don't want to go to the doctor or anything. I was seizing up almost daily at that point. She was just tired of me. So It's like, all right, that's when I finally went to the doctor.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Doctors are good. I had to do it for my mental health. Um, just dropped in here and got bombarded with hamster trivia, and the trivia was good. Yeah, man, Revere, you know what's up. Oh, I got a shout out. Revere, Justin, Wayne. I think his name's actually Tim. Katie D. Poor Wayne Beatus. He came into the show like 10 episodes ago and has been just binging 5 years of me. And I feel so sorry for him. Like it's like that's a huge compliment, but at the same time, like, you poor bastard. There's so much dumb crap you have to fit. He just hit the episode where I was talking about I had a tapeworm. And that was
You have a tapeworm?
Yeah, I did. I had it like I had it out the day before I did the episode with Wally, I think it was. So we were talking about it. Yeah, it was no good. It's no good. I guess it could be cleaner. In my lifestyle. Just roll with shit too much.
I've had a lot of things, but no tapeworm.
Yeah, dirt don't hurt. That's not true. Dirt will get you.
Once as a kid.
You had what?
I had roundworms as a kid once, but I was constantly sick as a child. Okay. So all the hospital visits ended up cleaning that out sooner or later.
Everybody asked if I kept it. Look at this. Did you keep it? Everybody asked that. No, I didn't keep. I shit it into the toilet.
That was going to be one of my questions too. I would.
So they didn't take it out surgically.
It out in a little jar.
If they took it out surgically, I would have kept. No, it wasn't that big a deal. It was like I was having all kinds of like GI issues, right?
Hold on. And you just poop it out, no meds.
No, you take the meds. And then it just like flushes you, right? You shit stuff.
I thought you were saying you just pooped it out, so you thought you got rid of it.
I just bore down.
Yeah, I was like, I'm about to give you a world of upsetting news.
No, I had to take these big yellow pills, and I couldn't even swallow them. I had to chew these nasty things, and that was it. Like the next day after, it was just a power marathon. I couldn't go to work. It was a marathon of just dump, and then I got checked out again. I was tapeworm free. Boom. I think it was 2023. Tapeworm free 2023.
Tapeworm.
Pepto that worm. Yeah, it's not good. Look, Josh, if I shot a tapeworm of any significant length, I would have grabbed my yellow dish gloves.
If I shot a half-inch tapeworm, I would have grabbed my gloves in a jar.
It's only like 3 feet long. It wasn't a big deal, you guys. It wasn't. No, I don't know. I didn't look.
My wife pulled a botfly out of a thing. Pretty sure. No, it was a rabbit somebody brought into a.
Oh God!
And she brought it home for me.
Is she a vet tech or a vet?
Yeah, she's a vet tech for one of the places out here in upstate New York.
I did that for 8 years, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, I know what she's going through.
Oh,
she does bust her ass.
Oh yeah, she's an emergency vet tech.
Oh, those are the rock stars of the vet tech world.
She really busts her ass. But yeah, she brought me home a live botfly from a rabbit, and I stupidly didn't take care of it right way. And while it was pupating, it ended up drying out way too much.
Okay.
But this thing, without any exaggeration whatsoever, was probably 4 inches by a solid 1.5 inch girth. It looked like a little sausage sitting on the table. It was massive. Then by the time it pupated, it was about half that size. And then it ended up, it was sitting there for months. And I went to just like give it a tap and see, and it just crushed in on itself. I was like, oh, okay.
Good. So good. Fuck botflies. What are you trying to? You and TJ are the guests that I talk to that they're like, why are you keeping this thing alive? Why are you letting? He wants to get sand fleas and let them, or whatever. Not sand fleas, sand piranhas. They're basically sand fleas, but they'll chew you up. Like they eat into you. Yeah. So there's videos of doing it.
There's somebody working with ant lions right now.
That's cool. Now, what do they turn into? What do they pupate into? Because they're a larva, right?
Yeah, I think it's a type of beetle, but I'm not certain. I've been talking to him in a bit. But last time I saw him at one of the expos out here about a year and a half ago now, maybe. but his setup is a bunch of tiny little deli containers, some deep sand, and all you see are these little circles in all the containers where they have their stuff spread out, waiting for something to just fall in. It's
So cool.
those little dudes.
Well, I got a whole ant colony, so I was like, I would love to have a couple of these ant lions and watch them go nuts.
Oh, that's my wife actually, Katrina. I just told them how we lost or how I lost the cutie. No, we found it too. Oh yeah. So before it died pupating, it actually got out. As in, I left it in the box she brought it home in, and it somehow got out the box and rolled onto the ground. Yeah.
Dude, you know what? She brought it home to you, so she knows what's about to happen.
Right? It's basically it. I threw out my house keys. I've lost them in other places that I don't know, or else they wouldn't be lost. It's all on her for thinking I wouldn't have lost that thing.
That's just yeah. Sorry, Katrina. That's on you, buddy. Katrina D. It's awesome. It's awesome. Everybody brings their wives on the show. It's amazing. We just said some really nice things about you. I hope you've been watching the whole time.
She's usually at work, so this is a plus for her.
Yeah, that's good. You didn't bring her on though, so that's all right. That's all right.
She's where she belongs with the cat. Quiet.
I'm glad you didn't say in the kitchen.
I was so close.
You're gonna get that shoe come flying around the corner.
Oh yeah, little violent Albanian.
You're gonna throw that Amazon parrot at you from around the corner. Get him!
It's gonna be her attack bird,
dude. He already is. So, all right. So tell my audience. I like to give the real deal. So, give me like the 5 worst things about owning parrots.
Okay.
And this is like not taking care of them the way you take care of them. Taking care of them like, let's say average, not neglecting, not rock star taking care of them, but like picture average keeper.
The average keeper, even me. I'm a very experienced keeper, so this applies to experienced keepers and novice alike. You don't realize how much time and dedication and money goes into owning any type of parrot. You have from the shouting and screaming to the potential for plucking to the potential for them attacking your partner, never allowing them to be in the same room as you again, never having a moment to yourself because when you walk out, they scream, end up attacking your children. They can go from liking you to hating you on a whim and then just start plucking. They start destroying your house. The list can go on, and you think you're ready for this until you actually get one. I spend over, I don't even know, to be honest. I spend at least 4 or 5 hours a day during the week, and then I spend over 12 hours on the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, get 12 hours or more each during the winter. During the summer, I'm basically with them from when they wake up to go to sleep. And from when they wake up to when they go to sleep, we're outside doing stuff. Then we come inside it. And then you think about they're super wasteful when it comes to eating. And they're exactly like a child. If they don't like something, they're going to pick it, throw it on the floor. If they do like something, cockatoos and macaws, notorious for just making it happen. Amazons are actually a trash can. So in that aspect, I can't complain too much. They will literally eat anything, including like dogs, random stuff they shouldn't. Fortunately, mine just chews up my stuff. He doesn't eat it.
Okay.
Cockatoo, on the other hand, she loves walnuts. She'll take one bite, and out of that bite, most of it will be on the floor, and she has the tiniest crumb that she actually eats. I'd say at least 70% of the food I offer her is wasted. Well, wasted from her. I'll catch it and then give some of the stuff to Leo, or the rest of it will go down to the rodents, and they take care of it. So
okay.
I'm lucky that I have other things to eat that. Not everyone does. And then it's not just seed that you have to get them. There's other pellets that have better nutrient content. There's supplements. Your vet cost. Finding a vet that can see a parrot is difficult in itself. Yeah. It's different finding one that can see a parakeet. That's also difficult. But a parrot, that's a whole different ballgame. And then finding one that can deal with it properly, has true experience, like that's really rough to come across anywhere. When I was living in the city, I lived in the Bronx, in New York City, finding a qualified avian vet wasn't easy. I had to go outside the city to actually find one. I'm driving to Westchester. I'm driving 30, 45 minutes away. And I lucked out having to go just that distance. Like out
Yeah.
here, out here, I got lucky. There's one 20 minutes away, but they wouldn't be able to see me if it was a dire emergency. The closest is Cornell, almost 4 hours from me.
University?
Yeah. So right there, I mean, that's the thing. And then the cost of the bird itself is minuscule. And I mean that retrospectively. Current price for my cockatoo is around $5,000.
Okay.
Do you have 5,000 to just spend on something that you're not sure if you're going to be able to keep because you don't think I'm telling the truth about this? I will send videos for you to add to this of my birds screaming. I can pull up my Ring camera footage, and it's deafening and it's enraging and it's over and over. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if you ignore them, they'll keep on screaming. And the moment you crack and just yell at them, shut up, be quiet, no, stop, pick whatever phrase you want, because now that's their new favorite thing to scream. I messed up one time and we were playing around, me and her, and we would go peekaboo. And then when she stopped doing the peekaboo, I had to change it up. So I go, ah. I messed up years ago saying that. That's her new thing. She screams when I leave the room. And that's when she's trying to do her quiet scream. And that'll break over 80 decibels. And then her true scream is the highest pitch enraging screech that is over 100 decibels that you can hear still clearly outside.
That's
Amazon,
crazy.
fortunately, doesn't scream like that. But like I said, they're toe biters. They also require a lot of space and a lot of enrichment and things for them to climb. They're really stocky, broad body. They're used to moving dense vegetation. They'll chew leaves. I give him thick sisal rope, and that's what he cleans his beak with after he eats. He chews into that as hard as he can. Picture thick. I'm sure you guys have seen ropes at zoos that they use with the primates, or
Yeah.
think of like the shipping rope that you see on boats, like pulling flags. Yeah, I have about 1.5 inch thick rope that I use for him, and he can chew through that in a couple minutes, cleaning his beak. Do you want that on your finger? Because he's attacked mine a couple times, and both times I thought they were broken. It's it's brutal when they bite.
It's
My
bad.
cock,
Or if they just get your skin, like if they don't even get a bone and get skin, like
oh, those
holy
little
shit.
pinches, man.
I hate
Jeez.
a pinch. I hate it. I'll punch you out if you pinch me. I don't care who you are, but like the bird pinch is the worst.
Man, I thought that the Amazon broke my finger twice when he's gotten me, and the cockatoo attacks my wife when she bites. Her beak's smaller, but yeah, they're also designed to crack into nuts and shells.
Yeah.
She can crack a walnut, and she can't even hold it fully in her beak. I mean, Leo, his favorite thing is cracking almonds, not even eating them, just cracking them and leaving them there. That's
Just
his.
doing it.
That's it. It's what he
what,
does.
what a dick.
You know, like that's his thing. He likes just chewing stuff like that. But cockatoo, yeah, you give her anything. Wood is her favorite. The harder, the better. You think she can't destroy it, she'll prove you wrong. And then you get the ones they'll decide to eat the stuff that they chewed up. Now you have a $10,000 vet bill because you're going to have to go
Yeah.
to emergency, find an emergency exotics vet, have those costs together, which is going to be astronomical. Now you have emergency surgery. Chances are you're going to have to find a specialist surgeon because a lot of those places can't. And then they have to get the anesthesiologist that can deal with avian medicine because that's totally different with their respiratory system. These aren't simple things to deal with now.
Yeah.
Your emergency vet visit cost you 10 grand on top of the 5 grand spent on the bird, the 1,000 on the cage, the hundreds that you're spending every few months in food. For my 2 parrots, every month is $70, just about. Yeah, and that's 2 types of pebbles, 2 types of pellets, seeds, and then the mineral supplement lasts about a year because you just do a pinch on top of the food. So luckily, that's not too much. Oh yeah, and then the nuts that we buy because they're not cheap, and finding snacks that are healthy that they can eat as well aren't cheap either, and they're picky as hell. One won't eat a fresh ripe banana. We got to put it in the dehydrator, or else she won't touch it. If it's wet, she smushes it and rubs it in her feathers.
Oh,
One does, yeah, that's her. That's what she does, dude. Watermelon, all in her feathers. Banana, all in her feathers. That's the so she's nice and white until I give her fruit, and then she becomes whatever color that is. But if she doesn't like it, grabs it right on the floor. It,
offer her some food color packets. See what she does. Maybe she comes out. She just is punk. She wants to be punk.
Part of me was thinking about seeing if I could train her to paint, like how they train elephants.
Oh yeah.
That'd be really cool. But she could decide to like it and then want to paint herself because that's something cockatoos do. They'll preen themselves with the tool. So, like how you'll scratch yourself with a back scratcher or pencil. Yeah, she'll do that with something if she likes. So, if she happens to like that and it's wet, like I said, she goes to rub it in her feathers. Now I'm going to have a multicolored cockatoo.
That actually sounds really cool. Honestly, that sounds really cool to me.
Be,
So get her some food coloring.
Really?
Right? I mean, who else has that? Nobody.
Be real.
So all right. So why get a fucking parrot then? Because it sounds like a real shit deal.
If you want a parrot, you have actual space time to dedicate, and you're not going to listen to what I say. My suggestion would be a budgie or a parakeet. We don't really have parakeets here. Parakeet is a small actual parrot. Different thing
They're
though.
kind of like lorikeets. They're about the same as a lorikeet,
Exactly. Yeah.
but like less nectar. More seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
Or not seeds, maybe, but like nuts.
They're not that blue and green. See them. It's like a red base coloring on a lot of the actual true parakeet species. But those are actually pretty good. Lorikeets are good. Lovebirds, I would highly recommend. They're small. They live in social colonies. They'll bond to one mate, but they're still very social. They'll interact with you. You can train them really easily. Ringnecks are, well, they're not a medium size, but out of the ones I'd recommend, I'd say they're a medium sized parrot. They're pretty good to work with. They can be really sweet and loving. I Cockatiels, they're a great one, especially if you want that mohawk look, that head crest, and you could still technically say you have a cockatoo because they're also part of cockatooida. So
I want a cockatiel real bad, like a hand raised cockatiel. I think that's a perfect size bird.
oh yeah, honestly,
Hand raised one is so cool. Like they're real chill.
yeah, for sure. And really just look up any avian rescues, any foster. There's always rescues for birds because, like I said earlier, they live so long. Nobody is really thinking how long 50 years is, 60 years is. It's, oh, yeah, I'll have this bird until blah, blah, and then I'll die and pass it on, or I'll give it to a zoo. Your zoo doesn't want the fucking bird.
Nope.
I
sure don't.
have 2 birds that are almost extinct in the wild. If I called a zoo, they wouldn't take them. Like they don't have true lineage. I can't trace it back. DNA is going to yield either this, that, or it could be something that they don't care for. There's some trait they find that isn't useful to them. They can't put it in their project. And then since they are endangered, they're going to look for something that's SSP. SSP animals are registered to where you can look up their lineage in any date in any zoological database. You have their dam and sire from multiple generations back. You know exactly where they came from. I don't have anything on these. They're not going to want them. That's a big problem with tigers in captivity too when it comes to breeding programs between zoos. Most are generic tigers. A generic tiger is a cross between two species. That used to be the loophole to own them in the US. You can own a pure Siberian, you can't own a pure Bengal, but you could own one of those generics. And they closed that loophole, thankfully. But
thankfully, that's just like, who needs to own a tiger?
nobody. And it's the same aspect with these birds. Let's say you want a macaw. You have something that flies around in massive spaces with huge flocks of 20 or more birds. And they're flying, spending a lot of time circling around, getting that daily exercise out there high in the sun. You're going to bring it in your house so it can spend a bunch of time in its cage or on its cage, not going to get to go outside. It'll never get to experience what it's like flying around. And I understand. Even I can't fly my birds right now. I'm working with the cockatoo to be able to get her on that with full dedicated recall. We're not even close to there. So I can't take her out without a harness on.
And I'm going to try to suggest, I'm looking into chickens, right? So they have these big, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a fenced awning almost. It's like an awning type of thing that's like a house shape, but it's just covered in this mesh.
Yeah, you're talking about it's like or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like house shaped, generic, like a kid would draw a house, but it's just poles, and then it's covered in this mesh. But she'd blow right through that mesh, like she'd blow right through it.
I mean, they sell aviary mesh that's meant for birds, and you can find the gauge that you need for whatever type you want.
Okay.
Ridiculously expensive because it's stainless steel and it's not just your typical 316L, or I think it actually is your 316L, but it's not like 321. There's all different types of stainless steels. Some of them are a simple top coat. Some of them are permeated into the alloy when it's being made, or into the metal itself when it's being made. And then there's other types like galvanized, which are also rust resistant. But the galvanized coating that they put on makes it toxic to birds. And then if you have nickel plated or zinc plated, both nickel and zinc, if you have either of those for the plating on your couplings or crimps connectors on that, that's also toxic to the bird. So those are other things that you have to worry about. And when you have stuff that's actual proper quality, now your cost goes up. And if you're going to use that to make something an appropriate size for these animals, most of the people are going to say, forget it. I either don't have the space, I don't have the money. And money is usually a real big issue because people think that initial thought or that initial cost. I bought the animal, I can buy the food. That's it. How many people do that with dogs and cats? Nickel's toxic to some birds, not all. I should clarify that. It's basically the things that are alloyed with. Typically, nickel is used to alloy toxic metals. So if you're going to find nickel, it's rarely pure when you go to melt that down. Unless you're getting like casting grain. When you get casting grain, then that'll be pure because you use pure nickel, mix that with pure gold. That's how you get white gold. And that's why it's such a pain to work white gold because it makes it too brittle from the nickel. That's something else.
How much shit do you know, dude? You're the worst for tangents because you know too much stuff.
I was working on making a ring for my wife out of white gold I had, and I couldn't figure out why it kept breaking. It would form these cracks as I was trying to roll it out. And I was looking through some metallurgist and found out the whole explanation for when you end up alloying these metals and what happens. So typically to make white gold, it's end up being plated at the end.
I get jealous. I have friends that are so much smarter than me. I think I'm a smart guy, but I talk to these people on this show, and I feel dumb as shit.
Yeah,
So
we're all
dumb.
done with things.
I mean, yeah, I got a lot of trivia rattling around up here, but
I
yeah.
can't cook.
What's that?
I can't cook.
Well, I can knock your eyes off at cooking that.
I can make
There you
one
go.
thing. That's about it. So I feel
Oh.
good.
All right, I beat you at one thing. Awesome. I can cook like a mofo. So the aviary thing, possibility, but it's insane. This thing wouldn't even be big enough, really, to what you're talking about. Like it's like 6 feet tall and like 12 feet long. I think.
No, that wouldn't be really worthwhile to have for something like that. They'd get from one end to the other and then be frustrated that they couldn't really get that full spread.
Right.
Like they would need something to be able to circle around at least.
That's
I'm
an insane.
hopeful that I can get to that point, but my current plans right now, I saw the purple gold ring, and sorry, I gotta just address that. I saw the purple gold ring video, and my first thought was I need to order all the ingredients so I can work on making that. And I was getting ready to get one of the thermal cast ovens and all that stuff so I could get the proper heating. But yeah, I got so excited watching that. But yeah, like so our current plan that I have for the bird room, since I put a patio door, we're gonna combine my wife's greenhouse and the bird room, and we want to make an enclosed space pretty much where it's going to be a greenhouse that the birds can actually fly through even in the winter, and we'll still be able to use the garden, let the tortoise roam around in there during when the weathers can allow it, and then have the birds through. Both these birds can survive temperatures well down to 50. So if I can keep that in the 60s, so I'm comfortable, or let's be serious, around 74, so I'm comfortable, then yeah, I think we'd be real good at that. So that's something that's in planning that won't be completed anytime soon, but there's another expense to add on because I want to give them better, and just doing the minimum in itself for a year after you have that first year just to get them set up, not including cost of the bird, you're probably spending double, at least as much or double the cost of the bird itself.
That kind of makes sense, though. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and that's not
It's
even
not how most people do it.
First, like to get a baseline vet check when you first bring the animal home. So that's all going to depend on your area and what the vet costs. Yeah,
here, I think the first visit's like $150, and that includes like a basic blood workup. That's
but that's for like a dog or cat.
No. That's for a parrot. Yeah, if you bring a parrot to a parrot vet,
wow,
like not to a regular vet.
Yeah,
that's really like your basic exam and your
the wellness check,
basic, like blood count, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a wellness check and a CVC. So we have apparently we have a lot of birds in the area. So we have a bird vet nearby. It's probably about 30 minutes away. And
then there's lucked out with that one.
Well, I don't have any birds, so I don't give a shit. But yeah, it would be cool. If you have a bird, move to Joliet, Illinois, or Plainfield. That's where the fucking thing is.
There you go. You get ants from you and bird vets.
I'll feed your birds some ants.
Is there anything else there?
Where I live?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Any other fun attractions somebody could stop by and see while heading to your neck of the woods?
Your bird vet. There's Brookfield Zoo is about a half hour away, so people come from all over the world to go there. I'm not that far from Chicago. Chicago's about an hour away, so there is that. You could go to Chicago and then like swing out and see me, but I'm going to meet you somewhere because my house is shitty. So I'm going to meet you out somewhere. I'm not bringing you in here.
I don't remember the last time I was in Chicago. I got a cousin out there, though. We went to some hot dog spot where we walked in and they started yelling and cursing. I was getting angry, and then he's laughing. He was like, no, that's the whole gimmick. It's like, what? Oh, damn.
That's the gimmick? In Chicago? Was it Ed DeBevick's?
I'm not sure.
Ed DeBevick's. Ed DeBevick's, they just shit on you.
Yeah,
Like,
you walk in immediately, they're like, "Hey, Baldy, fuck you on over there." It's like,
yeah. That's it, the mimics.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the moment I stepped foot in, I was like, "What are they saying?" Like I'm about
We
to
had a lady,
go
we were
down.
in line to get in one time there, and I used to love it. And I applied to work there like 3 times, and I wasn't cool enough, I guess, to get in there, but definitely funny enough and definitely a jerk enough. But
Oh, yeah.
the food there's like mediocre at best. But
It's
you're there
just
for the
the
show.
experience. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. It's the gimmick.
So, but there's this kid like screaming about something, and the guy gets on the intercom and he's like, "Ma'am, we're having a sale on children's Xanax at the gift shop if you want to stop over." So she got pissed off and left, and the rest of us were dying. Like the kid was out of control.
That's great. That's
It was
awesome.
great. What's the food scene like in Joliet? We got good food. We got good food. I could say almost anything you want. Well, it's a lot of Mexican. It's real heavy Mexican. So, which is fine. I love Mexican food, but every time a restaurant closes, 3 weeks later, there's a Mexican spot there. So it's just like they're just waiting. There's like Mexicans just waiting to open a new restaurant, which is fine. Again, I love Mexican food. I could eat it every day, and I'm in the city where I could eat it every day.
That's how
And
Chinese
be
food is
happy.
in New York. At least
Yeah. Is it like this though? You ask like I ask my Mexican friends like, okay, who's got the best Mexican in Joliet? And they're like, well, what do you want to eat? And I'm like, Mexican food. And they're like, no. Do you want tortas? Do you want tacos? Do you want burrito? Do you want carne asada? Every place has a different specialty. So if you got
all the real Mexican dudes I know from Mexico told me,
Yeah.
you know, a Mexican place is good when the menu is as thick as a book. That's what they told me.
Is that true?
And it's been true every time, dude.
I don't think I've ever
any spot I've been to where it was like just fold and like 1 page.
Yeah.
It's not good ever. It's like it's tolerable, but I wouldn't go back. Whenever I get something like, I need a drink just so I can look at this and not be overwhelmed. That's when I know I'm going to get a huge portion and it's going to be banging.
I think you got a good point. I never heard that, but I'm trying to remember in my head, like Mexican places where I got that like thud, you know, like that Cheesecake Factory menu.
Yeah, and it's always good. When I lived in Colorado, I worked with a bunch of Mexicans, like actually from Mexico, immigrant over here. And they all told me that, and they're absolutely right.
I got to look at that. There's a couple places I could check out in town that I know have that because I don't, like I said, we have so many. I eat at so many different spots trying to find that one spot. And there's a place by us it's my spot. It's just down the street. Honestly, I could walk there, but they're dicks. Like if you're white, they're kind of dicks to you. Like they kind of treat you like shit a little bit. But my wife especially, I don't know why they hate my wife. So I have to go get her food.
Extra white?
She's really white, like Dutch Bohemian.
You know what? Here, this is what you got to do, bro. Especially because you got the flannel, right?
Yeah.
Chicano style. So you got to put on the plain white T-shirt under that, and then just button your top.
The top button.
I know the beige stickies, but you got to steam them or iron them so they got that straight crease in the front. Way it was fresh. And then you walk in there. And that's when they treat you with respect.
Here's my problem though, with this fat neck. I can't get that top button close.
Bro, so just watch Blood In, Blood Out.
I love that movie. Miklo!
There you go.
Miklo!
Cinderella, better get you a fella. Oh, man.
What do you say?
You go,
Cinderella. Pinche güero baboso. Give it to Chon Chon. No!
Give me the chucho.
That's my favorite line. Movie. And then you hear Emilio Estevez. No!
Dude, Billy Bob Thornton is in that. He's mad young. I don't think he says anything. He's just in it. He just grins creepily in the background the whole time.
It's like The Boys in the Hood for Mexicans.
Yeah.
It's good. It gives you like a real look into that like barrio culture. So it does. It does.
Like it's a look into the I'm white on the outside, but I'm brown on the inside.
I'm brown in my heart.
God damn, I love that movie.
Working in restaurants, I would say that to our Mexican guys all the time. You see my face and you see a white man, but I'm brown in my heart. They'd be like, "Get out of here."
That's fucking awesome.
They
Oh,
called me Chabelo because I look like, I guess there's like a Mexican Mr. Rogers named Chabelo, and I look just like him, so I get it all the time
all
from
right.
Mexican friends. Yeah, it's not a compliment. Uh, he talks like this, hi Chabelo. It's not
That's
great.
the creepiest voice to hear, especially with speaking Spanish.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it
I'm just
wasn't good.
picturing like a little creepy puppet.
No, it's me, but when I was like skinny, when I was skinnier. So picture a skinny me if you can. Like if I threw up an extra me, that's
That's who it would be. Okay.
yeah, that's who it was. Well, dude, I think we learned a lot about parrots today. There's definitely more to learn. There's definitely more stories. Your
Good.
bird's as old as me, at least,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah. Older than me by a lot.
It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, this is great having you on. For a last interview,
Yeah.
this
Happy
is
to be here for
top
that.
shelf. If I ever do come back, we're going to talk about hamsters, though. I want you to know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And they're nocturnal, so they'll all be out.
they'll be out. That's true. You got to get one that you can let out, and it comes to you when you
They're
smooch.
hanging out right here. There's
Yeah.
well, one just hid when I pointed at it, but the other one's chilling.
Just ran out. You learned about Nicholas.
That's a good pun.
Justin's good.
That's a solid dad joke.
Justin's solid. That's good times. But yeah, man, thanks for coming back.
Yeah.
Next week, if you're not doing anything next Tuesday, we're gonna do I'm doing it live, it's just me, but I'm gonna leave the link to come on like you did.
Yeah.
Just low for everybody. It's just gonna be out. Whoever wants to come on, you could pop into the little queue. There's a queue down here at the bottom of my screen. And if I don't want you on, I'm just gonna remove you. But if I think you're an asshole, you got to go. But I'm just letting everybody on who wants to come on. But everybody's invited to come, obviously, be in the audience. But yeah, if you want to come in and say a couple things, or maybe we're going to go over some, like, I'm going to be going over, like, my favorite moments in the show, some of the highlights.
It's so dramatic. Just letting it all out.
I'm going to probably cry a little bit. It's been 5 years. It'll be 5 years Saturday. It'll be 5 years Saturday doing this show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Damn, time really
Yeah,
goes.
it is. It's crazy. So to think I've been in iSpots for 6 years, but now I'm out of iSpot. I sold like everything. I have Just Droy and my Hoffman Segai in my heat and tank, and I have what else? The Armadillidium. Oh my god, how come I can't think? Parakai. That's one of my favorite species.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a nothing species, but they're absolutely my favorite. So
what are they called? I think they're the fuzzy ones or something. They make the sound, right?
no, that's Armadillidium. Oh, I have those two, I guess. I have Officinalis.
There we
Armadillo.
go.
They're armadillo. They're the only one in the class armadillo.
Gotcha.
So, but they make the ones from Greece, I believe. Will stridulate. It scared the shit out of me the first time it happened. I put them in my hand and I rolled them like dice. I was like, let's go. And then I held my hand still and I almost dropped them. I was like, oh, shit.
That's really cool. I've never heard it in person.
I felt it more than heard it because my fist was kind of closed.
Yeah. That's real cool.
It scared me pretty bad. But anyway, we're going to talk about stuff like that next week. So if you're around, come by. Yeah. Otherwise, love you guys. I had a great time. I was glad Katrina came by. If you get a bird, rescue one. That was her last advice. But
yeah, that's really solid advice. Like I said before, there's always birds available to rescue. Birds are the number one animal surrendered. It's just for the reasons that I mentioned.
Birds and sulcata tortoises.
Yeah, if you want a tortoise, don't. If you're not gonna take that, yeah. I also have a tortoise. You know what I wish I didn't have? Do you know who really wanted the tortoise too?
She's still here. Shut up. She's still here. So she got you the tortoise and the hare?
No, I got her the tortoise because she wanted a tortoise when we first met.
Oh.
And yeah, I have a tortoise that I keep building things for.
What kind of tortoise?
Every time I think she's done growing, she makes me into a fool. So we have she's 13 pounds, I think, the last time we weighed her.
What is
13
she?
or
What kind?
14-pound redfoot tortoise.
Oh yeah, they get to be big.
Yeah, they get about 20 pounds.
Yeah,
So,
something like that. I got a buddy with a herd of them. He's been rescuing them. He's got like I think 15 or 20 of them. It's
oh
crazy.
yeah. I mean, I definitely would not recommend a redfoot. If you want to absolutely get a tortoise, get a pancake. They don't get that big. They are extremely active too. And believe it or not, they're great climbers. You set up an enclosure. Get them if you have the room. Set up an enclosure with something with some nice rock wall on the background, and you will
Yeah,
find them seeing eye to eye with you on a nearly vertical surface. As long as there's little things for them to dig into and wedge themselves.
that's cool. I was
Amazing.
thinking Herman's tortoise, but that's good.
Hermans are cool if you could actually find like a real Hermans. Greeks are actually a good one too, and they're more captive bred now, so they're easy
Nice.
to find. But yeah, if you're a serious breeder, and get yourself a permit and get Egyptian tortoises because
Oh,
you need
dude,
to breed them. But
we got a guy. We talked to the guy a couple weeks ago. Sam Schulman. He's got at least one, but he's in a group of guys, so he's raising it kind of as a test run, and he may get a female to go with it. So
gotcha.
that's my favorite tortoise. I would love to have a couple of Egyptian tortoises because they only get like this big, dude, and they're all over the place. They're crazy awesome.
Female is about 4 inches. Cat, do you remember how many Egyptians were at the zoo?
We have two
we
at Brookfield.
we both spent time working at the Bronx Zoo, and I don't remember how many
Dude,
Egyptians.
you work at the Bronx Zoo?
I was a reptile keeper from the Bronx Zoo. That's why I had so many animal
That's
connects.
my favorite zoo.
That's why I know
That's my
so
favorite zoo.
much about reptiles. I was a reptile keeper for a year back,
Okay.
and I volunteered a bunch. I think I volunteered
Katrina's gonna
3 years, and then I worked for a year there.
Katrina just said she might hop on with you next week. It's
That'd be
my
cool.
dream came true.
She's got a lot of stuff that she could share.
I gotta see if I can get Marshall Arachnitz to come on with
She's
his
a
wife.
licensed tech. She's it's called Fear Free Certified. So she's trained to take in your animals into the clinic. Doesn't use any aggressive tactics. No sedation to calm them down. It's all with tone and behavioral recognition. Yeah, she's actually like
That's
top
my jam.
and has her degree and all that stuff. So
I traveled. Katrina, you might know this. I worked for Banfield. You might know this. They're nationwide. They're the ones inside the PetSmarts.
yep.
But I traveled all over the Midwest to train people restraint. Because my restraint technique was that. I never heard it called fear free. But
She was trained at Colorado State University, their vet teaching hospital, which
yeah,
is right there with Cornell. Colorado State actually, I think, has the biggest livestock teaching hospital, large animal, whatever it's called.
okay, yeah.
But they have a whole separate wing. When you walk through, they have cows with like the viewing ports in their side that they're doing studies on with digestive stuff. Like the dude opens it up and he was explaining to us everything. It's fascinating. She could tell you emu stories, like legit people bringing emus into the vet.
That's awesome.
There were only 3 when you were there? We're definitely
3
more than
Egyptians?
3 when I was working there. I can't remember his last name. The one keeper we had, his name was Paul, but he specialized in chelonians. That was his thing. When I volunteered there, I took care of most all the Europlatus geckos and the New Caledonian, but they only had Sassorum and Leachianus. But
Okay.
then when I actually got hired there, I worked with the Najas that we had the Cobras, and then I worked with the Piranids. And both of us, even when Katrina was there, we each worked with training some baby Komodo dragons.
Like target training, or what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
like clicker training, and then she actually target trained an alligator for a zoo in New Jersey for I think her thesis or whatever for grad school.
So fun. That's like. What's your thesis in grad school? Target trained a alligator. So
Between the
What was-
both of us, we have a lot of animal experience.
what was your weak ass thesis? You wrote a book about populations of isopod in New Jersey. Yeah. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, clicker target training
Low
animals.
stress handling all day.
Leader.
Yeah, I was kind of the king of that, so I totally appreciate that. Trying to teach people that is really tough. So it didn't always work. Didn't always work. You get that one wild card dog or cat, but yeah, less stress for you, less stress for them. It's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, I had the no fear thing, but yeah, that's not. It's not them that had the no fear usually.
There's some vet clinics where you have to be certified with the fear free to actually work there.
That's cool.
Like,
That's
there's
cool.
a whole different registry for like you can look those ones up and stuff.
That's cool. I like that a lot. But on that note, on that other tangent, so
Yeah.
we covered a lot of ground today. We covered metallurgy,
Mhm.
hamsters,
Yeah.
parrots. I think we talked about parrots. I even remember something about that.
Yeah, at some point they were mentioned.
Yeah, woodworking, vet teching. What
Yeah.
else?
All
Tortoises.
stealing from. Hold on, I want to hear you pronounce what that word is.
What word?
The title of this show.
The title of this show?
The taxonic word.
From my show.
I don't know what the episode is called. You know, the word that starts with a P and is used to talk about.
Oh, it's not on here. I don't. Oh, there we go. Psittaciformes.
I'm impressed, actually.
I bet you are. I can fucking read. So.
You know how many people don't know that a P before an S is a S sound?
Oh yeah, English is my jam. So.
You ever have somebody try to read pneumonia?
Oh yeah, pneumio. Yeah, I've heard some weird things. I like to look at people like, what did you just try to say? Yeah, I have friends that wanted me to be an interpreter because I can pronounce things like, I don't know, I have a gift for it. Like my buddy's Lithuanian and his parents had the Lithuanian newspaper, the Draugas. And I just picked it up one day and started reading it. Like I snapped it open real dramatic and just started reading it. And they're looking at me like, what are you doing? So I'm reading the paper. What do you mean? I'm trying to get into my news. And I guess my pronunciation was like pretty accurate. And they have a lot of weird ass letters, but I was doing pretty good. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Justin, it's not hard. It's not hard to read the PS and the PN.
Oh, the baby Galapagos. Yeah, we had a herd, more or less, of Galapagos tortoises at the zoo that would go through 4 like cafeteria kitchen trays of salad a day. Not to mention constantly having hay to graze because that's how much they eat. Sure. And when you would open the door, they would charge you instantly to try to get fed. And you put your foot out, try to stop them, they're going for your feet. You go to take the empty tray out, they're going for your finger. They were constantly eating. They're such machines.
Do they have an awesome bite too? Are they? Because they're just eating soft vegetable usually. So.
No, they're not eating soft vegetable. They're eating spiny cacti in the wild. They're eating tough, thick-skinned things that are similar to gourds. They're biting on not tree trunks, but like thick branches from vining plants. Like, that's meant to do some work. Like, so, I give my Redfoot, we give the hard food biscuits, the Missouri stuff. I don't need to soak it. It bites that clear, like easy as hell, and it's kind of tough just breaking that in your hand.
Never mind. All right. Yeah, you could lose a finger.
Yeah, you don't expect that.
I'm old enough to have ridden one at a zoo. So back when we abused the animals at the zoo. So.
The Bronx Zoo used to let people ride an alligator.
They were different. Bronx Zoo is different.
There's photos of it when you go there too.
Like, we had guys. We went November 1st is what we did. I was 21, and we're so hungover from a Halloween party that we threw, and we decided to go to the Bronx Zoo. It was my last day in New York, and I love zoos, and so we went. It's cold as shit. Nobody was there. So the guys driving the little trams, you know, the train thing that you can ride around in. So they're driving it full speed down the lanes, and they're doing crack the whip. So there's a guy hanging on the back. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get him to fly off. So they're like weaving in and out real hard, and we almost got taken out. Like we came around a corner and they were right there. We were like,
yeah.
"Holy shit!"
I could believe that 100%.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Everybody else was like mad. I was laughing so hard. I'm like, "This is the best day at the zoo." We pissed off the capuchin monkeys. As good as I am with birds, I'm awful with primates. Like primates hate me. So we had the capuchins all pissed off and riled up. Mm-hmm. There were some beautiful moments. That zoo's got some beautiful, the bison herd that they have.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah,
that area.
I think they have 2 new calves that were birthed out there. Not that long.
Area is just beautiful. They've got like a huge area, and it's all up on that like mountain.
Oh yeah,
mountainous rock.
A private family still owns that today.
Wow.
That's all. That land is all owned by the ancestors of the people who originally colonized the Bronx. That's all their stuff. We have, when they get mail, sometimes it'll be delivered to the security gate and somebody has to cart it all the way up to the top of the hill. It's a bunch of different security passes for that. There's only a few people that are allowed to go up there. But yeah, that whole thing is owned by one family still.
Jesus. I mean, it's a beautiful zoo. Anybody watching this, if you get a chance to go to the Bronx Zoo, take it.
And then make it a 2-for day, because right across the street from the Bronx Zoo is the Botanical Gardens.
And yeah, I mean, do the Bronx Zoo 2 days. Make it a week. Make it a week.
Yeah, just don't go anywhere else in the neighborhood.
There's a thing there. I don't remember what it was called. There's an exhibit that's like this huge. It's like you're walking through a jungle. And there's like massive fish tanks. Is that what it is? Jungle Walk?
Jungle World.
Jungle World?
So it goes through Southeast Asia. It'll take you through Malaysia area. It'll take you through Myanmar, Thailand. They'll have like the whole trail. There's the fish tanks. They have gharials in there. They used to have, I think they used to have gibbons in there with the gharials. They had some type of primate in there with the gharials, and they had to remove them because they would swing down on the fake vines and literally slap the gharials as they would in the water. Like they'd slap them right on the face and just swing off. So they had to remove them from that exhibit. But they put the gharials back, and now the gharials live in there. There's a fly river turtle. I think there's 2 fly river turtles in that exhibit. It's been like a year, and then I don't know how many species of massive fish are all.
Well, I have a great memory for that stuff. Like I can remember what it smelled like while those guys were driving that tram. I can remember the smells.
Oh yeah,
from them driving the tram. It wasn't the smell of the tram. It was just like I can remember that in my head.
Depending on how long ago you went, was World of Darkness open? That's
I want to say it's all nocturnal stuff, right?
Yeah, so
they got a big wall with like mole rats or something in it. There's bats.
They have the massive tunnel with the mole rats.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the year, but they closed that building down shortly after a man had a nervous breakdown and he stripped down to his underwear and hopped over the guardrail and the guard glass into the caiman enclosure.
Oh boy.
Luckily, he terrified the caiman to where they moved away from him. They didn't go to attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to be pulled out of there, and then he damaged some other stuff before hopping in there, and they just shut down the World of Darkness completely, and they ended up moving the animals out to other exhibits, and they were supposed to fix it up, but I was there last year, and it's still just a closed building.
Okay, that sucks. Because that was a fun exhibit. Like, even though it's pitch black in there, basically.
Yeah.
Really cool. That's the first place I think I saw a bush baby.
I know it's the first place I saw one. They had bush babies. They had eyes.
Yes. The eye, we couldn't see it. It was like hiding or something. It wasn't out. But I wanted to see it so bad because they're so creepy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like, easily one of the creepiest animals on the planet.
That one thin finger. It's the creepiest thing.
Yeah, yeah. Knocking on the wood like, where's that maggot? Where's that maggot? Now I'm going to rip this thing open with my teeth. Talk about teeth. And I'm going to finger that thing out of there. I'm going to spearfish. Weird-ass animal. Okay, on that note, let's let these people go. It's been 2 hours. This has been a good one.
Sure.
So, guys, peace out. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to talk to Kevin for like 5 minutes. So love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.